In this video, I'm going to be walking through how we duplicate the series of sequences for the decision machine for a new webinar. So we're going to start over here in Trello. I've created a checklist here. So the last thing I want to do is, as I've been moving through these, I've realized that I'm changing some of the checklists. So I want to go through and copy the latest checklist, which is the 7 lies that kill church growth setup. So I'm going to do checklist, copy from this. 7 lies that kill church growth. I think it's this one. It actually should have been 7. That should have been a different name. It doesn't matter. Okay, so here's the new one. So then the first thing I'm going to do is go in here and change it to Broken Church is the one that we're working on here. Save that. Okay, and now I've got this long checklist of things that I'll go through, which won't really take me that long. So the first thing I need to do is go in here and create my tags. Now, one thing I did with my tags is I created some short codes for them. Here they are right here. So I can just do these short codes, and I'm just going to use Broken Church for this one. So let me jump over here, get out of the campaign. I'll show you the campaign in a minute. We're going to go to CRM settings. Tags. And we're going to start creating tags. So the first one's going to be IS 7670 IS. And then I'm going to do Broken Church. Copy this so I can do it again in just a second. Okay, and there it is. Now we're going to add our second one. This is the 6-month one. Just paste that in there. Broken Church. And the last one is 7670 IT. It's not the last one, it's the second to last one. It's the only ones I have in there. And the last one is an exit tag, and we're going to call it 7670 exit 7670 point. Yep. Okay, and that's my tags. So let me jump back over to the campaign and do the next bit. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit just to remind how I do this. So here's the first 3 webinars here. I know that that's tough to read. All I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all this and then just copy it and move it over. And that's all I've done with that. That's the only step you didn't see. So let me get over here. Get this in here. Now, can I go bigger? Yeah, go bigger, go home. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is go through and change these labels. Okay, and you'll notice I changed these to 7670.4. This is the 4th webinar in the process. If we move these webinars around down the road, the sequence and the order of them, it doesn't matter. These tags will always apply to this, but I want to make sure that I'm tagging everything right at this level so that when we look at it in the contact record, everything is good. Then all we got to do is go in and start turning stuff on. A lot of these sequences don't have anything in them. They're just pass-throughs, which is cool. So do that first, and then let's deal with this decision node right off the bat. Okay, so this is the only thing. These are the only tags we need to change. This tag right here and this tag right here. But we've got to make sure that we keep the right logic in there. So this one, we're leaving that tag, the universal tag. We're going to change the 6-month timer tag. And that was an and. And if I just type in 6-month, you'll see all my tags start popping up here. I just need to find the Broken Church one. There it is. Probably important to remember it's the 4th one down too. And this is a doesn't contain and then a contains. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and delete this contains one. And just keep in mind, you're not hitting this and right here. You're doing and down here. Not sure if I could have just added the tag first and then deleted it. I didn't do it that way. It'd be worth trying. Contains, and that same tag, 6-month timer. And it should be the same number down. So that's 1 click, 2 clicks, 3 clicks down. Important to remember because we'll be tagging this a lot. And we should be good to go on that now. But we'll double check this at the very end to make sure that the logic's the same. The decision node is not working. The testing is not working right now. I'm working with Infusionsoft on that. Okay, and then we want to apply tags. Now, here's something critical. We want to put in here the 6-month timer tag, and we don't want to delete the ones out until we get the one in that we're using. So I'm going to go down and put in the 6-month timer tag for Broken Church, and then if I do equals INVT, I get that invitation trigger tag. It pops up right there, and you'll see here's this one. Okay, and Broken Church, that's the one we're working on. So let me take these others out now. Okay, when you get done with this one, there should only be 2 in here, and there's some notes in here about that as well. And then we're going to make that guy ready to go. The next thing is the 6-month timer. The reason this is in right here is because if somebody comes through a Facebook ad into a webinar, so they're not in the decision machine yet, it actually will apply this in that campaign so that they don't come into the decision machine and right away get the same webinar. Okay, need to focus while I'm doing this too. Okay, so that's the Broken Church. We'll double check these at the very end when we're done with everything. And then we're going to remove some tags here. So the first one we're going to remove is the invitation tag. So I can do equals INVSE, and it pulls up my short code for that. And I'm looking for Broken Church. Clip this out of here. Click Save. Make the timer live. Remove this tag, this invitation trigger tag. So that's equals INVT. And Broken Church. Delete the right one out. Save. Same thing with this timer. And then we're going to remove the 6-month timer tag. And we're removing that tag so that they can come through this webinar again after 6 months. Now, if we change the timing on all this, which you can see it's already changed to 7 months here, it doesn't matter. The tag doesn't correlate with, if we decide to do a year instead of 6 months or 7 months, then we're good to go on that. This tag actually makes it where somebody clears this campaign or this sequence, which is super important. They need to be able to clear this sequence so they can come through it again. Then we're going to go in here and change our exit tag. And again, I'm always adding the tag before I'm deleting the old one, just so I don't get confused about what I'm trying to add. And then we want to actually take this tag off. So let's do 0.4 exit tag. There we go. That's easier. And we're marking it ready, and you'll see that as I'm moving through here, as I mark things ready, I know where I'm at in the process. No change to that tag, no change to this pass through, just got to make it live. No change to this one, and no change to this one. I use a lot of pass-throughs because if I ever want to duplicate a part of the process and it has a decision node in it, I try to use a pass-through before and after every decision node. That's a big deal because they're hard to copy otherwise. So we got the webinar and process part. You notice that I've put the segment of the campaign that it's in right here so that when I'm looking in the contact record, I can tell what's going on. This is a text that gets sent to me, and the only thing that needs to be changed in here is the point part of it, so that if I get this text, this one's actually, I should never get this text because they should never get this far into the process if they have the webinar and process tag, which is what's triggering this. This tag, 7670 decision mean, starts the decision mean over machine over again at the beginning, so it reapplies it and pushes them back through. That's kind of how they loop back around. And the same thing here. and we're ready to go on that. Okay, now all I've got to do is jump over to these two campaigns that are at the top here. This is the invitation campaign. Now you'll notice I've already put the decision machine information in here. I didn't know that I did that, to be honest with you. So many things going on that it's hard to remember them all. So there's broken church. Now what I'm going to do in this one is I'm going to go in and copy from a campaign. Okay, I had to find the right campaign. It's 6 things pastors do to kill generosity, and it's pretty far down the list. This is what it looks like, and then we're going to select the decision machine. Now, what this does is it actually removes a tag, but it's the tag from. Let's see. Let me stay focused. So we're gonna do broken church here. That's just going to give us a nice note in there, so that we can track what's going on. And then we're going to remove an invitation trigger, which is equals INVT. We'll bring all of those up, and it's this one. That invitation trigger tag is the one that gets applied in the decision machine that gets them over here into the invitation sequence. So we're going to apply it, and almost immediately after that, it's going to be removed. And again, I'm going to put that same tag in here, INVT, broken church. And you got to make sure that these are done correctly. Then the next thing I'm going to do is while I'm in here, I'm going to check and make sure that the tags are being removed the way that they should be, which in this one, funny enough, they are not. There should be a bunch of tags in here. I'll fix that afterwards that need to be removed every time somebody comes into one of these campaigns, and that way all the tags that are applied in the post registration campaign will actually work, because if they already have the tags for this webinar, it doesn't matter if we apply them. That's a different video. So let me jump over here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to apply a tag right here. And what that tag is going to do is it's going to restart the decision machine campaign. So let me get this a bit more organized. So I'm going to move this out here. Now you'll notice I'm going to create a space there, and I'm going to create a space right here. Move this back just a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the invitation sequence tag right here. So I'm going to apply it here. And then all I'm going to do is simply copy it and move it over here. And I'm going to remove it. Okay, so let's talk about what that does. This tag actually, I think I said this a second ago, it triggers the decision machine to start over again. Okay, when it triggers, it's actually going to apply the 6-month tag again for this webinar. It's also going to apply the 30-day tag so that somebody, this contact can't get another webinar served to them for 30 days. Okay, so it's going to apply it here right when their first email goes out, because that's when we want the 30-day timer to start, is with the first email, not 5 to 7 days before that if we apply it earlier. And then when we send out the second email, we're just going to go ahead and remove that tag. That tag gets removed in a couple of places, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Okay, and that's all we've got to do with that. The next thing we've got to do inside of this campaign is just make sure that we're applying and removing the webinar in process tag. Okay, so there should be, we're going to apply it right here. And that is semicolon, WIP, webinar in process. Apply, save. And then we're going to go over here and make sure that we've got church list tag. Okay, that stops that. That last tag triggers this tag right here, and then moves them over here, which is where we should be removing the webinar in process tag, and we're not. Now, the webinar in process tag also, when it gets triggered, there's a separate campaign that when it gets triggered, 2 weeks later, it's going to remove that tag regardless, because I found that people were slipping through the cracks. Now, a couple things about this. We got to make sure that everybody, no matter what they do, if they sign up for the webinar, they're going to go here, and that's going to trigger them moving over to that campaign. Oh, this is also if they purchase as well. Okay, so Yeah, so this is going to trigger the webinar. So if they sign up for the webinar, it's going to trigger this. You notice that this is not connected over here because I don't want to remove the webinar and process tag for the people that actually sign up for the webinar. Now, the things that are in here are the purchase tags, and I need to go back and make sure that logic is right. This is the universal members tag. So if they buy during this process, it's actually going to stop these invitations. I just need to make sure that when people buy, they're removed from the webinar and process tag, which I think matters. It'll come off 2 weeks later anyway. It doesn't matter. Okay, and that's it for the invitations. Now, let's jump back over to the very end, which is where the post-registration. So this is the guts of the webinar format. So let me jump back to my decision machine over here, or my Trello, and look at post-registration. There's only a couple of things we need to do in here. We need to confirm the webinar and process tag gets applied and removed with this campaign for everyone. Okay, so let's look at that first. This is removing all of the tags, which is funny. And maybe that is where all the tags get removed for this webinar. Yeah, so if they come in, they're going to get all their tags removed right here. And this is what that looks like. So it'll remove all the tags, and then immediately it starts adding them back in a second. There's our webinar and process tag that we want applied here if they don't already have it. And then we're going to watch the tags that are here. So they're going to get, here's the webinar and process tag again. They'll get the confirmation email. We'll apply 2 tags that are relevant to Stealth Seminar. And this is where we want to add our tag for the decision machine. Yep, this is where we want to add the 6-month timer. So we're going to do 6-month timer. And we're going to do this one for Broken Church. There it is. So we're going to add that guy right there as well. And that makes sure that anybody that is coming to us as a new lead from Facebook or anywhere else, that they get this tag and they're pushed over into the decision machine. And let me jump over and show that real quick, just because I'm not super sure about it right now. That tag should be one of the tags that's triggering the decision machine over here. Okay, the registrants tag actually for every webinar is what's triggering that. And then after they get that registrants tag, we're applying that same tag right here. But it's just better to make sure that they have it. So we're actually applying it in 2 different places. Yeah. Actually, I think that's the wrong one. Yep. This should be the 6-month timer. See, we've got this 6 things pastors do. This should be a 6-month timer tag. Let me cancel that to make sure. This is why you add them before you subtract them too. So we know, let's see, 6-month timer. So it's not the kill generosity one. It's the kill church growth one. It's this one, timer tag. And then this invitation tag should not be in there. And that's how things break. And then we're going to remove a tag here, the invitation sequence tag. So let me show you how we do this too, because we haven't set the one up for Broken Church yet. So I'm just going to go and grab both of these and then copy them. Let's see, let's put this guy right there. And then I'm going to change the language here. Okay, okay, let's see. So we got to do the invitation sequence equals IMVSE. And we're looking for Broken Church. There it is. And we're going to do registrants. And now we're looking for the broken church registrants. Here it is right here. Okay, now we've got the right ones in there. Again, apply the new tags before you delete ones, then double check. Makes sense to double check every way, all the way through the process. Now I'm not going to connect it just yet because we're not ready to launch this thing yet. And then I'm going to jump in here and do the same thing with the tags. So I'm going to do okay, it's just the one tag that needs to be changed here. This one stays. And then I'm going to INVSE. Looking for the invitation sequence for broken church. There it is right there. And that is ready to go. Now let me jump back over to my checklist and start working through them. I'm going to hide the completed ones so we can do it. We've done the tags. Invitation trigger applied at the beginning of the invitation sequence for this webinar. Okay, that's in the invitations. The capitalized stuff, it tells me where I'm looking. So this is actually in the invitation campaign. Note of trigger above tag, invitation to tag sequence first time. Triggers the decision meter. Okay, it's applied after the first timer. We did that. This triggers the decision meter restart 30-day timer. Remove it after the second timer. We did that. Okay, remove invitation sequence, decision meter first sequence for this webinar. Okay, that's actually a duplicate checklist thing. Okay, we did that. We don't want to remove the webinar in process. This we did. Yep. Post-registration, confirm webinar in process tag gets applied. You know what, the one thing we didn't do is to double check and make sure that it gets removed from the process. And by the way, I do remember why I did the tags the way that I did in here, like removing them here. That way, only the people that sign up for the webinar get their tags removed. Okay, so here's our church list. This is a sequence everybody goes through to make sure they're on the church list. And by the way, if they get that church list tag, they're automatically going to wind up being, that was remove the webinar and process tag, so we're good there. The church list tag is going to trigger the decision machine after 2 weeks. It's actually right here. So if they get the church list tag, we've got a 2-week timer on this. Eventually this will be connected to here, right down here, and it'll drive them over into that process if they don't already have the decision machine tag. So we're not re-adding them if they don't. Oops. Okay, this is the tag that gets them out of this part of the sequence. And this removes that tag that triggers the goal in the previous step. This we're going to remove. And the reason for that is we're controlling everything from the decision machine now. So this adds them to the 4-day cache machine. We don't want to do that. Whoa, what is this? Oh, we're removing tags here as well. So are good. I think we're squared away on not having those tags in there. So the contact will stay in there until all those tags are removed. And then we just publish it. The stealth, I'm publishing the webinars right now that we're using that are not active, like meaning we're not running ads to them right now, just simply so I don't have to go back and do this. But with the loss generation campaign, which we are running right now, I don't necessarily want to publish it yet because then we'll start adding tags that trigger automation over here in the decision machine. And let's go back to our checklist and make sure we're done. Post registration is done. Decision machine, add a sequence to the first goal decision, apply the 30-day timer. We did that. Okay, we did that. This is the invitation sequence tag. Yeah, we removed that invitation sequence tag. We did that right in the work that we were doing right here. Actually, I think we removed that invitation sequence tag. Oh, it's here. We remove it here, and we removed it in the invitation campaign as well. And again, it's better to duplicate than it is to miss it. Start. Okay, this is the 6-month timer. Let me go back in here and make sure we actually did that. I'm pretty sure we did this, but we want to add the 6-month timer here. Yep, we did. And let's see. If I do :RED and then put in added 6 month. This makes it easier. Okay, so that's done. Okay, these apply to, this is kind of out of order, but I was just trying to keep them in the order of where things are in these campaigns. So this has to do with the work that we did right here. So adding these title changes. So we did that. Apply the invitation trigger tag. We did that. Yes, this is duplication too. So this invitation sequence tag in the goal at the beginning of the decision machine. So we actually, this sequence gets triggered from the webinar, or the webinar invitations. That invitation sequence, remember, it's the one that restarts this whole process. Well, that didn't work. It's the tag that goes in right here. And I'm constantly finding that I have to go back and check and make sure that I know what I'm talking about, which is why I'm shooting this silly video. Okay. So we're square on that. Okay, we did the decision diamond. Probably need to shoot a video or a photo of that decision diamond, what it's supposed to look like, and then use it as the example in case I screw things up. Okay, invitation sequence tags to the tag goal at the start of the decision meeting to trigger. Okay, this should be created in the invitation. Okay, this is basically saying, okay, man, I have that one thing in there several times. That's that same tag in there. So let's see. Let's show this. I think we can delete. Okay, and then let's finish these last. In the same goal as above, the registrants tag goes into that same goal as above. That is the registrants. We already did that, I know, and we'll be checking it at the end. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to publish the invitation campaign. We're actually going to add this to a different checklist. We are removing this tag inside of the campaign. One of the things that I did to solve a problem in here was I put this 6-month timer goal in here. That goal gets satisfied from anybody that gets the 6-month timer goal or a tag from a webinar. So that tag that we worked on a minute ago here, this tag, as soon as that triggers, or that gets applied, it's going to trigger this as well, which is going to start the 6-month timer. So anybody that gets that tag is going to go into a 6-month process where they cannot get this webinar again for 6 months. And then we're ready to roll on that. And that is it. Go in peace.